Morning with Self, Waking Up with Master Shane, January 31st, 2022. And that's what I do in my private videos. So here we are making public videos. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. You know, we doing that timestamp thing. So it's Monday. It's January 31st, the last day in January, the first month in 2022, and we're moving. Time flies. Time continues to go. There is a part of no time, though time moves in different ways. So it's important to know the coordinates and the numbers and all of that. So today is about that momentum. You know, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Is time really the answer? And so we're going with this. The lighting is improved a little bit, and we're trying this out on the video so that, seeing how this looks, and we don't necessarily have to be live. I am live in a different way, and to be able to build the audience, to be able to build the Sagna and the community that we're moving along. This is a healing journey of Master Shane, and we're also going to be building more videos and making some public as well too, and showing the transformation and being a testimony and a beacon of light of success, because this is my breakout year. This is the year when I really come out into the public domain, into the whole world, internationally, worldwide. Hopefully, at least starting to get there and starting to build a world presence, an online presence, and all that good stuff. Because I have some good things to say, and I have good things to speak about, and I am a good listener as well too. So that's the part of being a consultant, of really sitting down with somebody and listening to the energy and listening to what's going on inside of them, and to help them understand what can really propel them forward, as I demonstrate and be a testimony of how I can move forward. So what's the transformation that we can see in 30 days, right? For the month of February, what can we do? But we also have to understand that we overestimate what we can do, generally speaking, short term, and we underestimate what we can do long term, meaning that we underestimate what commitment and what compound change can really create inside of our lives. So this isn't just a 30-day thing. We're looking at a 30-year plan here. I'm looking at being able to teach for 30 years. And that's just an idea. That's just a general concept of really having a larger vision, 30, 40 years of having a larger vision. That is something very reasonable, but it's not guaranteed. So it's understanding that I have to be able to do what I need to do, what I feel the most that I need to do today, what I feel the most that I need to do this month, what I need to do the most February. Building the foundation, and I have been building the foundation. It's very solid, and now we're able to grow like that bamboo tree. We're able to really put ourselves out there and be able to take care of ourselves, right? There's a lot of things where I am gifted with spirituality, my interest and my talents in spirituality, as well as in business. So I want to use business as a force for good. And there's a lot of things that I'm interested in and that I correlate with the business world. And so we're going to be getting into that type of stuff as well too, and teaching people how to become their own brand. This is very, very important so that you're not a commodity in today's world, and that you can demand top dollar. To be a brand and to have value as an individual, you can demand top dollar. And that's what Master Shane's doing, because you can't just go to Walmart at this point. Hopefully there'll be some videos and DVDs and things you can pick up at Walmart with Master Shane, but right now it's not something that is at a convenience store per se. So there's a luxury in a way. There's a one of a kindness to Master Shane services, and they're phenomenal services. So it's on me to get that out in the world and to communicate that and to let everybody know that it is available. And there are many, many things that have been built, and we're working on getting it in the public domain. So it's going to be beautiful, building the dream team and really starting to move and everything. So to get to that point, we have to do everything that we can possibly do. We have to wear certain different hats. So it's moving. And so that's today's Morning with Self, waking up with Master Shane, is what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Because first and foremost, the most difficult step towards greatness is the first step. It's building that first movement, that first initiative to a different direction, to a different momentum in life. And that's what we have to understand, that we can teach an old dog new tricks. It's just you need to learn in a different way, because you have to unlearn things that you have already learned. You have to empty your cup so that you can fill it again. You have to learn about habits, right? And how do we build and create new habits? But not only the technical aspect of it, but also the physicality, not just the physicality, but the spirituality of it, the energies of it. Okay, what are the emotions towards our emotions, towards our habits, towards our actions, towards our behavior, our emotions towards everything in life. We have to look at the feeling tones within inside of ourselves, and that's what I help as an energy management consultant, as a spiritual consultant, really getting into the spiritual DNA and the programming, the blueprint of somebody. These are the causes of our behavior. So it's easy, right? It's not hard to put somebody down for their behavior, okay? But the wise thing is to understand that first and foremost inside yourself, to understand your own behavior, but also to understand that there's a lot of unknowns in life, and this is what we're learning, is cause and effect. So appearances are appearances. That's the third course coming out. And that's a very deep understanding, so that we're not caught in suffering and that we're not caught in illusions. Okay? So that we're working on that, and we're working on the understanding of appearances are appearances, and we have to be very, very careful with our belief systems and what we believe. And so, science shows, different parts of science shows that all physical things are mostly comprised of empty space. So the physicalness of life is not as much as we think, or a lot of people have thought. And so there's much more to life than just the physical. And so if we start to believe that the physical, that the appearance is real, when appearances are appearances, okay? Appearances are appearances. And how things appear are not actually the thing in itself. What is really real is what's inside of us. And so we're working on being able to teach this in a way to understand that from the context of what we have been taught, particularly in a science-based belief system, in that the universe is an accident, and that this is just a chemical happenstance type of thing. When the reality is that there are so many things that could go wrong, but yet here we are. And so there is some type of intelligence that is sustaining, that is supporting and providing life. So it's a delicate way to communicate and to be able to start to open your mind to the possibility that what is real, right? Because we should be very careful in what is real, and if we think that the outside is real and then we internalize that, or is what is inside of us real and then that's externalized through projection. So that's a deep spiritual understanding, and that is the understanding of the nature of reality, which we have to be very, very careful. If we tell ourselves, I need to see it to believe it, when what if what you believe is what you see, right? So we just have to be very, very careful. What's the nature of reality? Which way does it work? Does it work inward, outward, or outward, inward? Are we sure? How sure? How do we know? Because if it works the other way around and we're believing it as the other way, then we could be getting caught in appearances. We could be getting caught in the effect and thinking it's the cause, when the cause is the effect and the effect is the cause. So which one is which? But today is about what are we waiting for, building that momentum. So that's what I'm doing here is, okay, this is a time limit. We got 30 minutes for this show, where we're just giving it everything we have, right? Because there's an understanding of not living by the clock, but using the clock to move you forward in life, to be able to get things done and to build momentum, to build your frequency, to build your energy. And it's very important to keep us self-accountable, for us to really hold ourselves accountable. It's easy to be accountable with others, and that's good, and we can help each other. Definitely, that's why we're here, is to help each other. But ultimately there's a point where, we have to find that inside of ourselves. And so that's part of the assets that I'm sharing and I'm teaching, and I'm helping others develop inside themselves, that I'm demonstrating through this, where we're going to see how quickly Master Shane transforms this year. How quickly that things start to take off like that bamboo, and we just shoot straight to the sky, through the sky, because the sky is only the beginning, So what are we waiting for? Why use time as an excuse? Why use time as something to delay things, when time can be used to manifest things quicker in ways, but understanding that it's about building that consistency and building that new practice of that new self. so that's another asset of what I'm implementing in letting the past be the past, in letting the old self be the old self, and embracing the new self, the constant renewal and being reborn every single day. Because we have to, yes, the first step is the most difficult step towards greatness. And then the part is to not go backwards, to not take a step backwards, to not put off any day. So there's a part of, okay, we build a practice, we take that first step, and we have to understand that we're always taking that first step every single day. So we're building that step as a habit. So there's certain things that we're going to get into and that I share and suggest in consultations. And they may be something very, very simple, and it may think like, you wanted a whole thesis, but this is keeping it simple and very, very useful and powerful, because it's the basics that build the foundation to greatness. And it's really the foundational things, and as a human we like to be fancy and we like to be complicated, even though it may not be necessary in that point to be so fancy, and to just allow the basics and the foundations to take care of it. And then through that, we can be fancy. We can look fancy. Because we make it look so easy. That's what fanciness really is just like when you have developed the foundations to a point where it looks easy, so it can be misleading in a way, appearing to be misleading, but it's by no means necessarily easy to get to that level. Okay, the 10,000 hour practice to mastery type of idea, where you have to put in a certain consistent practice to help attune you to a certain degree. Okay, so it's not necessarily time is the answer, but time is used as an interval to a type of intensity and frequency, and to be able to hold that and to build that frequency and that intensity. So we need to take that first step towards greatness. And we have a lot of testimonies in life, which is very beautiful. And this is what has allowed me to find inspiration, to see that, somebody has been able to do it, so why can I not do it? If somebody has overcome a depressive past, has overcome anxiety, has overcome, right? So we're just talking about basic things, it seems like. But these are things that a lot of people are dealing with in today's world, are just the small things of like social anxiety, and it's not necessarily a small thing. I'm not saying it's a small thing, but in the context of what we perceive as successful, right? It takes day in and day out of overcoming and facing these types of challenges. Like, that's what I mean in the sense of that it's like an everyday type of challenge, that it couldn't be an everyday challenge for people. And it has been for me in certain ways, and we all experience that in certain ways, whether that's social pressure, social anxiety in a sense of that pressure of, and there's a lot of expectations that may not even being talked about, which is making it more difficult to be able to perceive and to be able to know. So that's another reason why we're talking about this, is because of the extraordinary expectations with each other in today's world and the lack of individual standards of oneself. So this creates a needy culture and an unbalanced society, where we're putting on so much burden on children and on others and not taking responsibility for ourselves. So yes, we get into a lot of discussion and a lot of talk in this show right now because there's a lot of talk going on, and we need to be able to shift by first going into silence and to letting go, so that we can heal and shift ourselves, our perspectives, our conversation into a solution-based mindset consciousness. And we are afraid of our light the most. So it's not about being afraid of what we think. It's that's why we play small in life, is because we're afraid of the harm that we can cause. But we're limiting ourselves by the good that we can do, by playing small and by hindering and hiding our light in the cupboard. And that's what can be difficult when we keep things inside and we're not communicating, is that it becomes dark in a way outside, and you have to be really attuned to that light inside of yourself and to that guidance system inside of yourself to be able to know the truth and to be able to navigate in such a world where people are hiding and holding things inside of themselves and not communicating and going against the nature of reality, going against the way of the world, in that our thoughts are not as private as we really think we are. Like, just because you keep things inside doesn't mean that it's okay. It doesn't help you move forward in life. It doesn't help you build healthy relationships. It creates a lot of disturbance and turmoil inside of the self. And so that's where we have all of this stuff going on, but yet there's not an understanding being talked about. We're just talking about the problem and the issues, and that's not bringing about the solution that is present, the solution that always exists with the problem. Because if you create a problem, you create a solution, but we're afraid that we're the ones who created the problem. And we're looking at blame and guilt instead of taking responsibility and saying, hey, wow, look at, maybe we did create a lot of these problems ourselves. And with that, we're powerful creators and we can create the solutions. We can learn on how to wisely use our light for good. And so, here we are. That's what's important, because we can go anywhere from this point forward, but if we're not facing what's going on inside of ourselves, how are we being honest with ourselves? So what are we waiting for? Being honest with where we are with our dreams, where we are with our aspirations in life, finding a purpose, finding a vision. Because this is what's dangerous about a science-based belief system, is that when you're starting to think and you're starting to believe that there's no purpose to life, which, maybe there isn't per se a purpose in what we think of as humans, in the ultimate reality of it, though there is a part of creating a purpose in life. Okay, so it's not here to get in a speculative debate of whether or not there's an intrinsic purpose in life in itself, because maybe the purpose of life is to create a purpose. It's the understanding that purpose helps life. No purpose limits life in the most way possible, because if you have the belief that there's no purpose in life, why do anything? Why get out of bed? Why take care of yourself? Why go out in the world, right? Why don't we just let the human race be extinct if there's no purpose in life? Why are we... Why are we still here if there's no purpose? I mean, if there's no purpose, do we really believe that? Because if we really believe that, wouldn't we be freaking out more? Or wouldn't we be worrying more? We already are worrying about a lot of stuff, which is a misuse of our light, using our light in a negative, harmful way. And then we talk about how, we act like it's okay to be worried about things. To be worried about so-and-so all the time. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying it's imbalanced if we're always worrying about something and somebody else. Even if we're worrying about ourselves, but especially if we're worrying about somebody else. Because we're throwing negative energy to that person. Are we really praying for that person for good, in light, in trust? That's what we get into, because that's what this is about. It's about building that trust inside of ourselves, because that's why we act the way that we act, is because of the lack of trust inside of ourselves, and we put that on other people. We expect other people to be trustworthy when we're not trustworthy ourselves. We expect other people to be honest when we're not being honest with ourselves. Right? So that's what we have to understand. Which way is it? Be the change of the world. Or are you going to wait for the world to be the change that you want to be? And so you're going to wait for the world to force you to be what you want to be? Is that how it's going to work? Is that how it works? Or is it the other way around? Do you have to first internalize it and then bring it out in the world? Just like a baby comes from the inside. Everything comes from the inside. And it goes out. It grows out. Yes? Now it's all perception. So how do we really know? Because who knows, maybe this world is upside down and we don't even know it. Because with the eyes, that's how the eyes perceive it. It's actually everything is upside down and the eyes flip it. So there's a lot of interesting things that we can learn about the nature of reality and how things work when we start to think for ourselves. Which there's a testament. There's a whole array of people who have thought for themselves. Though this is the strangest secret, is that most men do not think for themselves. And that's what I help others do, is to find that light inside themselves, start to think for themselves, start to develop the creative thinking and the creative imagination for good. So, Morning with Self, Waking Up with Master Shane. This is Monday, January 31st, 2022. Last day in January, wrapping it up, finishing up, getting ready for a new month in 2022. Some people say January went by very quickly, and some people say it didn't go by very quickly. Some people say that January went by very quickly, and some say that January did not go by very quickly. So, okay, it's perception. How do we perceive things, right? But nonetheless, February is knocking on the door. And where are you going to be in a year? Where are you going to be in 5 years, right? Because you can be anywhere, but first you have to be here and to be present, because now is the point of power. I provide energy management consultations, getting into energy healing as well too, you know. Once we start to really consult with me and work with me, then we can do different healings, getting the email healing and all that out, and helping others in a lot of different ways. It doesn't take a lot of time to be with me, where we can shift very, very quickly. You know, that's one of the amazing things that I've learned through my experience, is just how quickly we can shift the energy, and we can get out of depressive old energy and into the new, and to allow life to live and to blossom and to grow. So that it's incredible, and our ability to heal, our ability to be healthy and to be happy and joyful inside of ourselves, regardless of appearances, is inspiring. And I'm excited to see what I can become, because that's what I am. Is I'm inspired by potential. That's part of the teachings we're going to be sharing, and helping others bring forth their own understanding inside of themselves, because ultimately my message is that there's a light inside of you, as there is a light inside of me, that the answer is inside, and so we need to become the answer rather than looking outside of ourselves for the answer in life. Otherwise, do we really have a good grasp on the nature of reality and the natural laws that all men abide by, without having to be aware of? Morning with Self, waking up with Master Shane, and it's a beautiful day. So what do you say? What do you say? I hope you have a great one. We'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Nothing's guaranteed, so we're just going to be grateful for everything that we receive in life. Many blessings.